What if everything we've been taught, all the examples we've been set, have been wrong? I thought I was planning my retirement. As I got into it, what I realized, planning my escape, my freedom. Everything I had thought retirement was supposed to be was backwards. The most important thing I figured out is retirement isn't quitting. Retirement is finally choosing yourself. For 7 months, we've been exploring this topic of retirement. Everything from if you're the most recent wife, what's your stake in the claim of joint retirement? What do you do if you're solo and there is no one else to back you up on your retirement money? If you're just getting started, is it too late? Do you just need to go ahead and figure out which kid you're going to start roommating with, etc.? We've unpacked a lot. But the common thread is choices. Choices over obligations, choices over requirements. This is up to us to redesign. If you're just getting started, no, it's not too late. Let's binge these videos together. If you've been doing due diligence, stacking it away for retirement since you were 12 and delivering papers or mowing lawns, good for you. But for all of us in between, we've had a lot of information that we've had to absorb. You get to decide for you. Only you know what number you need. It's not $1 million. This entire series is a building process to empower you to make the right decisions and pick your exit date or decide that you're ready to do a glide down or perhaps a hybrid retirement. So retirement isn't quitting, it's choosing. And we're not leaving because we're mad. We're leaving because we want the life that we had to walk away from when we were 10, 12 years old, when we were pressed into service, into latchkey kiddom to be mini adults, and we've never stopped. No, we're not going to do the Peter Pan thing and go back and relive our childhood, but we're dadgum sure going to turn the alarm clocks off. We're going to slow the pace of life if we choose to. But see, that's the thing. We're going to do exactly as we dadgum well please. So this first video, the lie we were all taught, the way it was supposed to look, the movie version of what our life examples were for retirement, you don't have to choose that. We're not leaving because we failed. We're leaving because we're done. Do we have enough money? Well, we're going to figure that out. Let's all watch video one together. I'll see you on the other side. There's a 4-letter word that gets thrown around a lot when people talk about retiring and about this being their last job. It's going to surprise you. It's the word quit. Q-U-I-T. People ask, when are you going to quit? Are you quitting? What's it going to feel like when you finally quit? And for those of us who have worked 30, 40 years, and we have made it to this point in life, we know straight up that we ain't quitting. Quitting is what we did back in our 20s and our 30s. Quitting is giving up and saying, I'm going to a new job. No, this is very different. Retirement, your last corporate job, moving on your terms, is not quitting. It's not even necessarily retiring. It's simply making a decision, choosing differently. Let's talk about this. It is simply making a decision. Retiring is not quitting. It's not even transitioning. Every time I hear somebody use the word quit in relation to moving out of this last position into the next chapter of life, it rubs me the wrong way. Quitting speaks of failure, inability to complete, disappointment, surrender, giving up. And we're doing none of that. We could have done that decades ago when we really felt like it. But no, now we are choosing differently. We are simply crossing the threshold from what they have told us and forced us to do our entire lives, and now we're choosing differently. We are making the choice to move on. Quitting sounds negative because our entire life, that's what you did when you got your feelings hurt, when you had enough, when somebody really PO'd you, you just quit. You walked. No notice, you're done. I'm out of here. Yeah, we're all a little bit older, a little bit wiser, a tad more sophisticated, and damn sure more mature. We're not quitting. Society has told us that there's a certain protocol when you want to leave the correct way from your current employer. Well, we don't need the references anymore. We don't care about the resume. If I never have to write down that I worked for this company from August 2019 until date unknown, yet to be determined, I am okay with that. I've already eradicated my footprint on many social boards out there in the networking world where I've always pursued my next opportunity. I'm serious when I say this is my last corporate job, period. End of story. Regardless of what society says. And you can put whatever label you want to on it. Jen finally quit. She gave up the ghost. She rolled over. And I will just laugh and ask the question, for those of you who read Atlas Shrugged, who is John Galt? I've not quit. I'm just choosing differently. By making this choice, it's not a reflection on our characters. No, our characters has nothing to do with this. We have worked hard 30, 40, I want to say 50 years, but then that's child labor laws and that's an entirely different channel, I'm sure. But I was pressed into working in family businesses about age 12. I was loaned out to family friends to go work for their family businesses starting at age 12. It was what you did. You don't get to, after a certain age, you don't get around all summer and just sit down and watch cartoons and play in the neighborhood. No, there were things that needed to be done. There were people who needed help. There was money that had to be made. It made me the woman I am today. Yes, when I was younger, did I resent it? Yes, I did. Did I want to quit? Oh, heck yes. But we sucked it up. We moved forward. So quitting is not a character flaw. It is not what we're doing, but even if it was, for all those times in my life where I did quit something, it wasn't always negative. And here's a thought. Why do some of us, because I've been reading in the comments, there's a lot of us out there that's feeling guilty for wanting something different. Yes, there are those in our generation who are not as ready financially and possibly psychologically to even start thinking about making these choices. I know it caught me completely by surprise when my husband, who's only a few weeks older than I am, started talking about it a few years ago. I'm thinking, retirement? What the heck? We're not that old yet, are we? You need to quit thinking that we're that old, honey. And then I realized it's not a matter of being old enough. It's a matter of understanding that when you retire, you don't have to have $1 million. You just simply have to know what your monthly number is and do some math to figure out, do you have enough to meet that core minimum from this day forward? It takes some analyzation. But I will say that once I realized what retirement could possibly mean to me, that it was not necessarily not ever working, it was not coming home and eating bonbons and watching my stories and sitting around and occasionally taking a trip going to a casino. No, retirement, like everything else in my life, was as I wanted to design it and what I wanted it to do. And when I realized it was not so far out of reach that I could finally stop having to set the alarm clock, stop, make this horrendous drive, spend more time with friends and family, spend more time with my husband, be the master of my days and not have to answer to somebody else. When I realized I was that close, the whole world shifted. Is it quitting? No, it is not quitting. It is choosing to live differently. I may not have 100% of every dollar I need between now and 93, but I'm not going to not be making some money. I'm going to do what is considered a hybrid retired or semi-retired to our parents' generation. We're moving forward. We're blazing more trails, Gen X. Come on. You figure out what you want to do, and then you are in control to make that happen. But it daggum sure is not quitting. And when you figure out, when you have that light bulb moment and you understand that making this choice based on all the facts and all the numbers, when you are comfortable, you don't have to explain yourself anymore. You no longer feel compelled to even mention to anyone what led up to this choice. It just simply is. When you know, you know. And it's just that easy. So down in the description, I have some free workbooks for you. If you don't know what your monthly number is to have the confidence that you could possibly make this choice for yourself, Master Your Money Plan is down there free for you. If you are feeling suspicious that you're going to need to do a hybrid because there's going to be a gap between what you have versus what you need every month, then I've got a workbook for you, Life Experience to Income. This walks you through where you already have built-in skills and experiences that could possibly translate into income streams and hustles for you in retirement. You could go check with your company to see if they've got a glide down that you can start working to where you don't do the glass of ice water jumping into a lake in the middle of February type of exit. You can gently start staging it down from work, keeping benefits intact to a certain point, I'm sure, but you can adjust psychologically and economically to the next stage of life that you're choosing. So the choice isn't necessarily, gotta go right now. No, the choice is you're just going to move forward differently. It's no longer the indefinite, undefined, work forever life that you've had up to this point. Retirement is a choice. It's a choice, number one, how you plan to live it. If you plan to work or not, because you want to or not, or you need to or not. And it's also a choice that you get to make outside of what the rest of the world is telling you. So when somebody asks you when you're quitting, I had somebody in the comment, Nikki, you know who you are. They go into the office, and when somebody asks when they're going to retire, their response is, and I absolutely adore it, I'm trying to figure out how to work this into my life. Oh, anytime within the next 2 weeks to 10 years. The final date is up to management. And that is an open-ended statement because I am no longer here at the pleasure of my bosses in my company. I'm here at the pleasure of me. And my date of exit is dependent on whether or not I continue to enjoy this job with this company. So is it dependent on management? Well, to a point. But ultimately, it's my job satisfaction. So for me, and I hope you feel the same way too, retirement is not the absence of a choice. Retirement is not the absence of work. It's the presence of a choice you get to make. I'm Jenny. I've got a little to say about a lot of stuff. This is video number 1 in the final 7-month series. Like, share, subscribe, send this video to somebody in your life who needs to see not only this video, but the entire 7-month series. Go and binge it. Makes fantastic listening when you're driving, when you are doing housework, yard work, gardening. Sit down, gather the family like it's an old-time radio show and listen or watch videos together. All right, I will see y'all soon. I post on Wednesdays and Saturdays. I do a jigger or gym when I got something to get off my chest, and obviously I do these series. So I will see you soon. Stop recording. Video 2 talks about there is a mental shift when you know your number and you realize that work becomes optional. Full-time work becomes optional, not mandatory. You may choose to continue working, but you may not have to do it at the pace that you've currently been for the past, what has it been, 3-4 decades now? Let's check this one out. What happens when work is no longer something you do to survive? When work is not to bring you income, but to bring you joy and purpose? I work differently when I'm not working to survive. I am no longer exchanging my time for a certain amount per hour. It is more of a intentional fulfillment, an internal fulfillment, than it is a way to make a living. What happens when income becomes optional? When we no longer work in order to survive, in order to produce a paycheck that's going to pay bills? What if our freedom is not necessarily tethered to not working, but not having to work, especially not having to work in jobs we don't care about? Work does not necessarily disappear in retirement. And for a lot of us Gen Xers, because we are reinventing what retirement actually looks like, work may never go away until we are physically no longer able to do something we love doing. The reason for this is not because we have done such a poor job on saving for retirement. It's because we prefer to have a structure, and work has provided that most of our life. And we don't necessarily want to lay that down 100%. But what we do want is the freedom to choose what we do with the time that we want to put toward work. Now, I'm all about volunteering places, not a problem. But for me, I do find a lot of personal enjoyment and value in exchanging my expertise, the time that I'm going to invest into a passion project or some other personal venture outside of working for somebody else, punching their clock, doing what they tell me I have to do. But I find quite a bit of satisfaction in seeing money flow in as I'm doing what I love to do. So work for me, after this being my final job, is not necessarily going to be because I have to. It's going to be because I want to. And it's going to be working on things that bring me joy, enrich my life, give me an outlet for my creativity, etc. Now, I know that a lot of us Gen Xers, we're going to have to keep working because we have a gap between what we need every month. Now, if you don't know what you need every month, down in the description, free for you, Master Your Money Plan. It's a basic budgeting workbook that gets you going for what you have to have right now. But then we begin changing the outlook to what does your retirement budget look like? Because here is the silver bullet. This is the magic wand. If you can create your retirement budget and begin living on it now, while you still have a full-time job, before you hit that retirement wall, you can start tweaking it without the pain, frustration, and fear that you might have if you waited to try it out when you first retired. So down in the description, free for you. So I do know that a lot of us Gen Xers are not going to 100% quit working, whether it's because it's a requirement, we have a gap between what we need versus what we are bringing in. Then we also perhaps want to continue working to pay off the debt before we 100% stop working to get us out of all of that extra payments so that our security in the amount of money that we have is that much more strengthened because we no longer have all this erroneous debt that we have gotten into during our younger, not quite so mature, wise days. When you need the paycheck, when you have to have the paycheck, that puts you in a completely different mindset. It's more pressure to perform, to please the bosses in the company you work for because you need it. And if you were to lose the current position, the pressure you're under to keep it, it completely shifts the way you think about what you're doing. All of a sudden, it's something you're obligated to do. It's not something you would choose to do. So what we're talking about here is when we hit a certain age, a certain stage, and only you can define what that is for you, that if you want to continue working, it's at something you choose to work, not something you have to do. It's the amount of hours you choose to work, not the amount of hours they're telling you you have to work. For those of us who would love to actually have our own income production, another freebie for you down in the description, Life Experiences to Income Workbook. This is for everyone, whether you were a stay-at-home mother or dad, or you have been at the top of your profession for the last 30 or 40 years. We all have skills. A lot of them are going to surprise you that enrich our lives, feed our souls, make us happy that we get the opportunity to do those and to bring in an income. That for me, that is the ultimate measure of success, is when I love what I do, the money doesn't matter. So all of a sudden, it is no longer working because I have to. It's working because I love what I do. I love the results it brings to the people in my life, to my clients, to folks like you watching these videos. It's not because I absolutely have to have the money. May or may not ever monetize everything I'm into, but like, subscribe, share, help me keep this channel going. Regardless of if this brings in income for me, I will continue because I enjoy this. I enjoy every aspect of it. So go and get the free workbook, Life Experiences to Income. Figure out what your income and side hustles are, and you can continue looking into what you want to do that's going to bring you joy and satisfaction versus something that you absolutely have to do. As you build a side hustle, a passion project, an income stream while maintaining your current full-time employment, because you see that you're on a glide down, you're going to stage out, you are going to make the leap into this next chapter of your life slowly and intentionally. It changes the power that your current job has over you. You continue to show up at that job, that full-time job every day, because it is a tool that you are using to fund your future, to pay your current expenses when it comes to healthcare costs, etc. It is no longer the sole single reason you get out of bed every day. It is optional as you continue building what your future looks like. And your future may be to 100% quit working. If that's what you want and you're set up to do it, then go for it. Great. But if you're like me and you think, be nice to be the master of my calendar and my clock every day, but I don't necessarily want to stop 100%, I'm with you. I fully understand that. And as you begin shifting your mindset that this is no longer a job I have to have forever, it's a job I choose to have for now so that I can continue using it as a tool, it makes saying no a little bit easier. No, it makes saying no a heck of a lot easier. No, I'm not available to work this weekend. No, I can't go into yeah, I can't take that meeting. No, I can't take that business trip. I've got other things I got to do. As you fill up your life with what you want to do for the joy of doing it, this job that which is for me, it is my last job. It now serves a purpose. Don't get me wrong on that, but it definitely is not my sole focus every day, all day, 365 days a year. That's long since gone, rearview mirror behind me. So basically, when you don't need every dollar that this particular job is bringing you, when you know that this job is the tool and you're stacking up cash because you're living on your retirement budget and this job is bringing you in more than what you actually need in retirement, you quit tolerating all of the foolishness and the ridiculous expectations. If this video has gotten your attention, stick around because this is the 7th month in my 7-month series about retirement. These are things that we all need to consider. It's not just about the dollars, it's about the cents. And this week of videos is crossing both dollars and cents because for a lot of us, it is about the money. Even when we decide to retire, we are going to want to continue making some income, even if it's just our mad money, our little slush fund, so we can go out and do the fun things that might spontaneously come to us like, yeah, I've always wanted to go to Broadway and see a matinee on a Sunday and have lunch and fly back home. We may not have budgeted for that specifically with our retirement monthly budgets, but by goodness, get a side hustle. Start funding some of those fantastical, I want to throw the best birthday party for my new grandbaby or my graduating great niece, whomever. These side hustles can help you fund that as well. So to sum up this video, work is not the enemy. Your current job is not the enemy. The feeling of feeling trapped, that you don't have options, that is what's sucking the joy out of the next phase of life. For me, it is a mindset shift that I enjoy and I'm grateful for this job. I'm not putting up with the tomfoolery, the rigmarole, all of the shenanigans my bosses and my coworkers play with. I'm not getting into the drama. I'm here for the paycheck and for the structure and the routine so that I can film these videos in the cracks of my regularly scheduled day while I continue to take care of my mother in this particular city. But there is going to come a point where this job is no longer even my favorite option, that I'm ready to completely lay it down. So I'm stealing from one of my comments. I don't know specifically what date is my last day. It's somewhere between the next 2 weeks and the next 7 years. The final date is probably contingent on management. All right, I'm Jen. I post on Wednesdays and Saturdays. This is a 7-day series. Come back, enjoy, binge, like, share, subscribe. Go and get your freebies from the description below, Master Your Money Plan and Life Experiences to Income Workbook. There's also the Retirement Reality Reset Kit and the corresponding workbook spreadsheet that goes with that. I'll see y'all soon. Stop recording. Stop recording. This next video, let's talk about that the definition of success is not, and now we're going to redefine what success is for us. Over 50, success is measured by alignment, not by titles, not by chasing that next promotion. No, we're pretty much done. 50s is where, I hate to say it, we're going to tap out. Even if you choose to continue working into your 60s or 70s for whatever your motivation is, chances are it's not the career track you're after now. Come on, let's go check this one out. Somewhere along the way, my definition of success had to change. Success can't mean climbing and churning forever. At some point, we're supposed to hit success and then be on what was it, easy street? But what if success after 50 is actually a lot quieter than we expected, and we're in charge of it? Most of us, especially Gen X, growing up in the 80s, we inherited a very aggressive idea of what success is. Work harder, work longer, don't ask questions, just do it. Go for the bigger paycheck, the bigger title, the bigger house, the prettier this, the better that. The elusive Joneses, oh my goodness, they were living they were living the high life, and we were chasing after them back in the 80s. And it continued on through the 90s and the 2000s, and here we are. We're in our 50s. And for those of you who aren't quite 50 yet, stick around, because there's a lot of things that you can start doing now to make sure that when you get to our age, you're set up better than we are. So instead of asking, how high can I climb? How fast can I get there? I'm asking, why am I climbing anymore? I don't want the career track. I'm done with it. I got to tell you, after taking care of my mother during this last season of life, being the last parent that we have between my husband and I, you learn a lot of their situation and them looking back on their lives. And it kind of puts things into perspective for us now. I want to get to their age and beyond and know that I lived the life that I want to live. My success, it is no longer career, paycheck, title, the next fancy car base. No, it's not. It hasn't been for a while, but it is in perspective now. And I got a little to say about a lot of this. Now, actually, I got a lot to say about this. Come on, get a cup of coffee, get something cold to drink. Let's have a chat. So I'm actually going to read this to you because this song really summed it up for us back during the 80s. I'm going to try not to sing it, but it is playing in my head, and it's by that wonderful Scottish band, Talking Heads. You may ask yourself, what is that beautiful house? You may ask yourself, where does that highway go to? And you may ask yourself, am I right? Am I wrong? And you may say to yourself, my God, what have I done? If you're saying any of those lyrics to yourself right now, this is where that buck stops. We need to have a better center as we move into this next phase of our life, because our success is no longer based on the trappings of what we thought it was to begin with. We have all felt it over, say, the last 5-10 years when we got that last raise, the last promotion, and we are no longer the young, stupid versions of ourselves. What we thought we were, oh, we were on the fast track. This is just great. The company thinks a lot of us. No, what we have realized, and younger versions of us, listen up. Yes, the company thinks a lot of you, but what they think is that you're willing to take on more and more and more for the same pay, with empty promises that you have to dress for the job that you want, and you have to take on the volume of extra work for the job you eventually want. So what they're doing, what it comes down to, and this was a hard lesson for a lot of us to learn, is you're actually giving it away for free. Grandmothers used to tell us, if you give away the milk for free, the man's never going to buy the cow. It works the same way in business. You're giving away the milk for free. They haven't bought the cow. So, younger versions, heads up. Those of us who are a certain age looking at this next chapter of our life, if you haven't had that realization, think about it. The costs that we have paid to get to where we are, this is where the rubber meets the road, because we have given so much more of ourself and our life than they've ever paid us for. We're burnt out, we're exhausted, we have missed how many school functions, how many vacations with the family, how many times were we called away in the middle of the night or the middle of a dinner or on a weekend. Heck, I've been pulled down from a ladder with a chainsaw in my hand because my boss called me 3 and 4 times back to back and I kept ignoring it. Finally, could not ignore it anymore. My second boss, my boss's boss, started calling me. So obviously somebody's bleeding, dying, something's blown up. Nope, it's not what that was at all. They had made a promise that they couldn't keep, and they're calling me on a weekend to make it for them. Really. So the older I get, the more I care about how success feels for me by my definition, and a lot less to what it looks like to other people. They may think I'm still chasing it, but I'm not. So I'm going to get alignment. I'm going to get alignment with this new idea of success. My calendar is going to reflect what I consider success. My spending. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road, my friends. If you don't know what you're spending, what it takes to actually live every month right now, in order for you to be successful in this next phase of life, you need to know that. So down in the description is a Master Your Money Plan. This is a free basic budgeting workbook. You need to know what it costs right now for you to live, what your total debt load is, if any, and what you need moving forward into retirement. Because when retirement gets here, you don't want to be surprised that what you thought you needed is way too little. So start living on your retirement budget now. Build some confidence that your next chapter, whether it's a full-blown retirement, a hybrid retirement, a glide retirement, or you're going to keep working but you're going to do it on your terms, all of that is going to tally up to what your success is. So go and get that freebie. Also, life experiences to income. This is where you can look at what you know how to do, even if you were a corporate CEO, a admin, a nurse, or a stay-at-home parent. You have skills that you can actually monetize to help fill in the gap. So you need to go look at that. Well, go and grab that. Success moving into this next phase of life also for me is not just income-based. Matter of fact, as long as I've got enough to meet my retirement budget every month, not income-based at all. What it is it is health-based, it is quality of life, it is restful and peace. These are things that I'm measuring success for in this next chapter of life. Leave down in the comments what your measure of success is going to be. What yardstick are you going to use when you leave this as your last job, you're working for somebody else, into this next chapter? What is a successful next chapter going to be for you? So when you look at the overall picture, your current budget, what you need when you retire, what your definition of success is going to be, what you're going to realize is that enough is always going to trump more when it comes to quality of life. So let's help each other define what enough looks like for you. If any of this topic has hit a nerve with you, I don't care if you are in your 20s or your 30s or your 40s, or if you're like me in your 50s, and you may just be getting started thinking about what the financial end of retirement looks like for you. Keep coming back. Like, share, subscribe. This is one of 7 videos this week in the 7th month of a series that I have done since the first of the year, all talking about retirement, from healthcare costs to budget planning, etc. So go and binge all of those. Send this video to somebody in your life who needs this information, and keep coming back. I'm Jenny. I post on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and sometimes I've got to get something off my chest, and I call it a jigger of gin. I'll see y'all soon. Stop recording. Most of us have never done this step: Retirement Reality Reset Kit and the Retirement Calculator spreadsheet. You have to know your number before you can make any decisions about your future. You don't want to go to retirement and realize you can't afford it. Let's figure that out now and see what life is going to look like later. Into this next video, we're unpacking that if income becomes optional for this next chapter of life, then your sense of desperation evaporates. Stink is bad, because desperation is something that people can smell a mile away. Now, if you find that you do have a gap between what you have and what you need every month, then income is still mandatory, but not at the pace and not at the level of intensity that it's been all these years. So the important thing is to find out what your number is. So all these videos talked about down in the description, go to the Resource Center, grab all of the support, free support that you need, and let's figure this out. Because when income is optional and not mandatory, there's a new spring in your step. How much of your life has been driven by financial fear and insecurity? Not knowing if you have enough to meet your property taxes or the medical bill that's about to happen or any sort of emergency. I know that I operate better. I feel more adult when I have made a disaster preparedness plan when it comes to my finances. Some people call this an emergency fund. Others just call it good old common sense. But think about it. Historically, how many times have you found you were making decisions based in a moment of fear and uncertainty versus, I got this? I talk a lot about retirement, about how much money do you have? How much money do you need? You don't need $1 million, but you do need to know what you need every month, etc. I do a lot of talking about that. What I haven't really driven home is my experience with not operating from a fear-based budget or a lack of budget, operating basically in fear. Financial confidence, confidence in your ability to glide down, step down, hybrid, whatever you're going to call this next chapter, starts with knowing that you're covered. And that is much bigger than an amount of money. It's like when a hurricane's coming and you know you've got a hurricane preparedness plan. We have to have these things in place so that we can sleep at night, not just with hurricanes, but with the rest of our financial life. So come on, get a cup of coffee, get a cup of tea. I got my travel tea here. Let's talk about this. Money doesn't just buy things, it buys choices. When you go searching for a new car, maybe you just had an engine blow up and the car's no longer worth repairing. If you go with cash in hand versus absolutely no money and you're upside down in the previous car, your choices are different. And it's not just the choices in what to actually purchase, it's the long-term impact on what you're fixing to have to finance and what you're going to have to pay at an interest rate. So money is not just comfort, it's options. And options are something that are there to empower you to make the choices that fit you in your life, in your circumstances, not something they're forcing you to do. I don't care if it's the new vehicle or a used vehicle, whichever you go for, or an air conditioner that's died, or a sick dog, kid, a sick you. When you have a financial plan that gives you confidence and peace, these things are not crises. They're just a bump in the road that you don't have to worry about. When you show up somewhere and you've got to, let's use the car again. When you show up somewhere and you need a vehicle, you stink. You reek to high heaven of desperation. And we've all seen it. There are folks, whether they're salespeople or Good Samaritans, community services, etc. When they know you're desperate, they know you don't have any other options and you're there and you're at their mercy. That is not a position of confidence and power. And ladies, let me talk to you for a minute with this too, because how many times have you walked in somewhere and because of your gender, you've been a little ladied? They want to know where your husband is. Oh, you're making these decisions yourself. Oh, can I talk to your dad? I'm a 58-year-old woman, and if you can talk to my dad, well then, I want to know what crystal ball you're using to do that. Men, I use the lady example because y'all are treated differently when you go in, regardless of your situation. Whether you've got cash in hand or a plan in place, you're treated different. And I'm sorry, female salespeople still treat men differently than women because it's the way they were trained. So although we are ever evolving as a race and as a gender, not everything's equal yet, and it may never be. So ladies, you need this information even more so than the men do, because you need a plan in place. If you are in a couple situation, whether it's a long-term marriage or you've got a partner or whatever label you put on it, you still need to know independently what your plan is, collectively what your plan is, but independently, if that situation evaporated or was unstable, what can you stand up and plan for? When we're desperate, when we don't have a plan, when we are fearful and we don't think we have options, all of a sudden we tolerate a whole bunch of more crap. That toxic job, you stick with it longer. Devil you know, the paycheck you get, I can't afford to leave this job. The relationships. Yes, whether they're just friendships or partnerships, and by partnerships I may be in some sort of business venture or real estate venture, when you have no options and you feel backed into a corner and desperate, you feel stuck and you stay in these deteriorating, soul mining, underpinning your self-confidence and your sense of self-worth for so much longer than we need to. And when we've all been there. And when you leave those situations and you see them in your rearview mirror, it's hard to look yourself in the face. It's hard to look yourself here in the mirror and answer the question, why did you stay so long? Free yourself with a plan. So in a nutshell, your desperation, your lack of planning makes every decision more expensive. So as we think about moving into this next chapter of life, yes, you need to know your numbers. You've got to know how much enough every month is. So down in the description, Master Your Money Plan, free workbook for you. If you're not already on a budget, and by on a budget, I mean at least knowing what you're spending every month and what you need to bring in every month, you've got to know those numbers so that as you decide when you are leaving your current situation, you'll know how much a month you need to make sure you have on hand, or if there's a gap for you to then decide, I need to pick up or create a side hustle so that I can bridge the gap between now and this age when I'm going to collect Social Security or whatever your plan is. But go down and get it. If you are thinking about starting a side hustle, I encourage you to start those now while you still have a job and get them up and going so the transition is much easier when you move into this next phase of life and you need that side hustle to bring in X number of dollars to bridge a gap. So down there in the description for you, I have life experiences to income. And this is not just for those of us who have worked outside the home, it's even more so for those of us who stayed home to raise family or to support a husband or take care of aging parents, because you've got skills that a lot of people would love to pay you for. So go down and grab that. So when your income is optional and not desperate, when your income is a tool and not just a liquid amount that comes in and goes out, when you have control and awareness and you know how much is coming in and how much is going out, and you're taking your surplus and you're doing good things, adult things with it, you're paying off debt, you're beefing up your emergency fund, you're piling up the cash in your peace fund, which is the cash you would want to have on hand when you do leave into this next chapter to ride out downturns or inflations or spikes at the gas pump because of a war somewhere, etc. So you need some cash on hand. That's just one of the buckets that you want to build into. But when you have these things, income is no longer a desperate situation. So for side hustles, there's going to be some ebbs and flows. They're not necessarily going to be the exact same amount every month. But you can ride that out because you've got some money set aside to cushion it. Part-time work becomes a more viable option. Consulting when you feel like it, becomes a viable option because you're not 100% dependent on creating X number of dollars of income every week or every 2 weeks or once a month. You have better control, you've got better options, and your budget is no longer a panic-driven, desperate situation. Once you're fully aware of that, when you realize, dang, I got this. Oh, I only need that much money between what I'm bringing in or what I have on hand to what I need. Oh, I can make that with my eyes closed. I could sell 2 dozen cupcakes or walk a couple of dogs or whatever your path forward is. When you have that, you've got peace. And all of a sudden, every decision, financial or not, when you have that level of peace and you know you're in control of your own calendar, your own money, your own time, your own day, the vacation is no longer a word in your vernacular because every day feels like a vacation. You make better decisions all the way around. All of a sudden, eating right and working out is no longer the chore it once was because you're not using either one of those as a crutch or as an excuse to not be able to do something else. You can actually manage your days and your decisions from a place of peace and enjoy life the way you mean it. Your confidence is going to replace your fear. You're going to walk taller. You're going to speak more confidently. You're going to use different adverbs and adjectives because you're no longer afraid. Set the example, not just for your family, not just for your children, but for those in your lives. Like, share, subscribe, send them this video. You have to have the same confidence in this next chapter of life with your finances as you have had knowing this is how much I make every 2 weeks or every month or once a week, whatever the amount is, and you are in control of how that flows. If something in the world transpires, such as a spike in inflation, whether pandemic or a war, etc., or gas prices have gone crazy, whatever it may be, you now have the confidence that you got this. We may not need $1 million, but we need control of our money. The greatest power of money is not us spending it and having a great time. The greatest power of money is the peace and the confidence it gives us, and we get to make better decisions. So financial independence, today while we're still working, tomorrow when we move into this next chapter of life, whatever that looks like for you. Financial independence, it's freedom, confidence, flexibility, and options. That's what financial independence is. It's not the number of dollars you have or how much you make. It's those things right there. All right, I'll see you soon. I'm Jenny. I post on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Like, share, subscribe. Y'all keep coming back. Stop recording. That's what financial independence is. Now, you may have to make some adjustments to a budget. We all do. They're flexible. They're not rigid. They're not punishment. They're your superpower. So if the cost of food goes up or eggs go through the roof again, it might be cheaper for you to go buy some chicken. So I'm not telling you to begin chicken farming, but I'm just saying when you have the confidence and the awareness, you have options. So in your budgets, you can say, all right, gas is going to go up. Gas has gone up. I need to pull some money from my meals and entertainment or from my clothing or whatever line item you feel you can cut back on so that your total budget amount stays consistent. You're just reallocating funds. Has financial pressure decisions ever caused you to stay in a job you absolutely hated or in a relationship or a marriage that you long since should have left, but you don't think you can afford to get out there and do things independently on your own with what you make? We've all made, shall we say, unwise, unself-serving decisions because we didn't know, we didn't have control of, and we weren't the masters of our money plan. Go and get that freebie. Do it now. Send it to somebody. Many of us are ready. We say we're ready. Our spreadsheets say we're ready. Our numbers scream to us, you got this. You know what your monthly number is. You know how long you anticipate living. Me, age 93, fingers crossed. But at the end of the day, I haven't pulled the trigger yet. And if you're watching this video, chances are you haven't either. So even though knowing your number, having it all organized is a great feeling, there's a level of confidence that might be missing. And in this video, we're going to unpack that a little bit. For me, the confidence is I only want to do this once. So not only am I making sure my dollars are in alignment, making sure that my cents is in alignment as well. Here is a topic that you don't necessarily relate to retirement or leaving your full-time job. Where does confidence to do this actually come from? It comes from knowing your number, being financially prepared or financially aware of what you need to do to actually be able to transition from this being your absolute last job to where you want to go. Some of us are going to have a gap. That's just part of the life that we've led. No shame in that, but you got to be prepared. And with preparation comes confidence that you're going to be able to face anything. A lot of people think that confidence is a personality trait, that it's something they're born with. They're special. And it actually is a big old pile of bull malarkey. Confidence comes from courage, and courage comes from preparation. Now, let's unpack that real quick. Preparation is just simply you being fully adult enough to know what your expenses are, what your income is, writing it down, and then telling your money where to go and what jobs it has. If, as you're looking at your expenses to your future income, as you leave a full-time job into retirement, you may realize that you're not going to have enough, but you're prepared to make a decision on how to manage that. So preparation leads to courage. So once you realize those things, you can then make your decisions and be brave enough to execute them because now you're confident. And that is the key, and it has been our entire life. Courage is nothing more than facing the things that scare us. Is it fearful to know, because you've done the numbers, you know what you have, what you need? Is it scary to realize that you're not going to have enough every month coming in? Yeah, it is. Are you a little mad because you thought retirement was going to mean you never had to work again? We were being promised one thing. The reality is it's going to be different than how we spent the last 30, 40 years, but it's not necessarily going to be how it's been portrayed in a lot of the movies and TV shows or the example set by our grandparents and our parents. But we're going to do what's best for us. We're going to prepare. We're going to have courage, and that is going to lead to confidence. So if you're lacking in the confidence to be able to move into this next chapter, stick around, because I'm Jenny. I got a little to say about a lot of stuff, and this is today's topic. So let's talk about preparation. This is what is going to reduce uncertainty. If you don't know what your monthly expense numbers are as of today, when you're still working and you're not ready to pull the trigger on retirement or this next phase of your life, shame on you. You have to know this. You may have buried your head in the sand for the past 30, 40 years, have done a haphazard job of a budget, but a budget is your safety net of knowing what your monetary requirements are and what you have coming in. And now is the time to look at that. You might still have another 5, 10, 15 years that you plan to work. Do you have debt? Nothing's going to erode your confidence in retirement worse than having debt and minimum payments. So let's go ahead and get that cleaned up. So prepare for retirement. Now, if you've not done the first daggum thing for the last 30, 40 years, except for just say at age 65 or age 67 or I'll work till 70, If you've not done anything to actually sit down and look at what your future self needs, they're going to be really mad at you by the time you get there. So now is the time for you to check out what you need, what you might have come that retirement age. Is there a gap, and what you can do now to better prepare for it? Down in the description, I've got Master Your Money Plan. This is a free workbook for you to go down there and grab and start doing your basic budgeting. I have a more, I wouldn't even call it advanced, but I have another product called Retirement Reality Reset Kit that actually has a spreadsheet that goes with it to help you really get down to the nitty-gritty and figure out what your retirement needs are. If you are considering continuing to produce income because you enjoy it, because you need the money, I want the money. I don't know necessarily if I'm going to need the money in 15 years, but by goodness, I like a little cush fund. I like a little mad money. Down in the description, I've also got Life Experiences to Income. This is a workbook to walk you through how to figure out what skill sets you have, regardless of what you've done for the last 30, 40 years. You may have been a stay-at-home mother. You may have been a community advocate. You may have been a profession in some field. Regardless, you've got skills, every last one of us. And this workbook will help you figure out how you can monetize those skills. And when you know these numbers, you might be surprised. Fear loses its power when you put a flashlight on it. It's no longer scary. Those retirement monsters under your bed, we've got to excise them. Got to excise them. So with preparation, your fear diminishes and you can start making plans. And this will give you the courage to take action. As you take each action, and action number one is knowing what your monthly number is. You don't need $1 million, but you do need to know how much every month you need. These are your decisions. It doesn't matter what your family thinks. It doesn't matter what you're afraid your coworkers might think. The only opinion that matters is yours and your significant other. If you are in a marriage or a long-term relationship, they have input, and together you make these decisions, but these decisions are yours. So I don't care if somebody calls you crazy. You want to retire early? That is 100% possible. Maybe you don't have 100% retirement funds yet. You can do a glide down. You can do a hybrid. You can leave a high-earning job that is just burning you out with the pressure and the stress and the amount of hours. You can leave that. It's up to you. Regardless of what other people in your life might tell you, you keep your own counsel. Make sure you and your spouse or you and your partner are in alignment, and together y'all can make these decisions. And not everybody in your life is going to understand your choices. They never have. Look back. I got 58 years in the rearview mirror, and I don't think my family and friends have understood 95% of what I do. But that's okay. When I put my head on the pillow every night, I sleep very well. My conscience is clear. I do as I please. I do no harm. I never intentionally do things that are going to cause problems for other people. But sometimes what's best for me is not necessarily going to please them. You have to do what's best for you. If you choose to discuss your plans with somebody outside of your marriage or your immediate relationship with your partner, there's value in that. Those who have known us longest probably know us best, but they don't necessarily know what's best for us. So if it helps you to talk it through with someone, to get a counterpoint to what you're considering doing, that is fine. Trusted family members, friends, church members, somebody you respect that's autonomous to your current work career, your current job. These are all great candidates. But go into it knowing that they may not agree, but that doesn't mean you're wrong. They just simply have a different point of view than what you're expressing, and it may not be a fit for them, but it doesn't mean that you can't do what you choose to do. So again, we've got preparation, courage, and confidence. And as you have these discussions with your immediate closest people, whether it's a spouse, a partner, friends, family, etc., you don't have to over-explain it. This is not for them to approve for you. This is just simply you working through your thought process with them. So quit over-explaining it. Quit justifying it. If it's right for you, it's right for you. Now, we are applying all of this to our decision of moving into the next chapter of our life, retirement or however you want to call it. But this same advice, had somebody told me and I was ready to hear it back in my 20s, it would have saved me a lot of heartache and heartbreak. So feel free to use this video to speak to some younger versions of yourself, whether it's in your family or at work, because these 3 points, preparation, courage, confidence, applicable to everything in life. If you are ready to find your confidence, like, subscribe, share, because I've got a lot to say about this. I got a little to say about a lot of stuff, but I got a lot to say about this. If you have been living small, if you've been playing small for the last 40, 50 years, whether it's because you were too fearful or you were in a situation where you didn't feel confident that you could speak up and speak out, you got more sunsets behind you than you do sunrises before you, and it is time to put on your big girl panties and find your confidence. And real confidence, it doesn't demand attention. It doesn't expect applause. And it dang sure doesn't require approval. So let's figure out, what do you want to do next? And let's prepare. Let's get some courage. And let's enjoy the confidence. I'll see y'all soon. I post on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and this is video something in a 7-video series this month. Next month is another topic coming up about retirement, so I'll see y'all then. Stop recording. Confidence. A lot of people think that personality trait, well, we also thought the senior prom was going to be this magical magical Cinderella moment, or our weddings were going to be flawless, or whatever preparations that we've made for these epitomized, fantasized about events. And retirement is no different. We thought we're going to prepare, we're going to have confidence and courage. Stick around. I got plenty to say on this. That's just shooting fish in a barrel. No, that's not the right analogy. That's just a ridiculous. I know you've tuned in here wanting to hear about Gen X and women of our age moving into this next phase. Well, there's a bonus one for you. Living more simply. We've been chasing the Joneses. We've been trying to buy that next shiny piece of tech for how many decades now? We've been busy keeping shoes on our kids' feet, food in their bellies, medicine for not just the kids, but for the pets. We've been busy. This is our chance to make it simple. Yeah, there's that keep it simple, stupid, something like that. We're just going to keep it simple. Simple becomes the new mantra, the new rhythm of life. So whatever simplicity or less hurry is in your life, this is where we seize it. This is where you get to redesign what your days are going to look like. And you're going to choose the next chapter with power, with intention, with focus, and let the rosy glow in the sky behind you be your current employer's bridges. Let's not say burning. Let's just say the rosy glow in the sky behind you are the bonfires from the place you previously called your work home. The longer I live, the more I realize that living simply is a skill. Living simply, it doesn't mean living less. It doesn't mean living like you're Ebenezer Scrooge. Living simple is a life lesson, and something that if you haven't learned it by now, it's time to fully consider this as an option. I gained peace when I stopped chasing excess. When I realized that those stupid Joneses that I was supposed to keep up with didn't have a more enriched life than what I was looking for. And if I wanted to do different, it was up to me. So what if living simply is actually an upgrade? Let's think about this for somewhere along the way, we were all sold. Chase bigger, bigger houses, bigger paychecks, bigger vacations, bigger egos, bigger perceptions of what we were doing and how great we had it. But what really mattered and what we have discovered midlife and beyond, all right, because we're here and you need to figure it out now. Chasing bigger is an empty, vast hole that you'll never be able to fill. You have to fill your own life with what you value and what are riches for you. All right, now I know I'm sounding like, oh, she's so touchy-feely today. I'm going to give you some tough love because a lot of you really need to be jerked up by the, let's just say, just need to be tapped on the shoulder gently and lovingly. How's that? Only you can answer this next question, and you need to give it some thought. If you have not previously, now this isn't about money, all right? This isn't about job title because this is your last job. We are saying goodbye to all of the trappings of this career track that we've been on, whether we want to or not. Now, if you're not ready to retire because you're not ready to quit working, you don't have to quit working, but you really need to significant thought to what the next chapter of your life looks like, because your body's check engine light will eventually come on, and it will tell you that you need to become slower, more peaceful, less chasing the ever dollar, and living more simply. So this conversation, if you're not ready to hear it now, go ahead and bookmark this and go binge a lot of other stuff on this site because you will be ready to hear this before you realize it. So how much really is enough? How much is enough for you? And did enough have a different meaning 15, 20 years ago compared to now? What does it take today to keep you happy and satisfied? Yes, it is a little touchy-feely, but truthfully, at the end of the day, we can't take any of this with us. What we can do is have experiences that will keep us warm and fuzzy as we fade into the time of life where we're not able to go out and have those experiences anymore. I don't think a one of us in 15, 20, 30 years are going to sit down and tell someone who's interviewing us about our life, you know, I really wish I had worked an extra 20 hours a week. No, not one of us are going to think that. There will be regrets, and the regrets should not be what you didn't do or the time you didn't spend with somebody who needed you or you were mentoring or that loved you. So how much is enough? And when are you ready to make the shift beyond chasing bigger and begin chasing better? And better is simpler. And don't make the mistake of thinking living simple is settling, because you're not. You're actually reaching beyond what you've ever lived before. So simpler, does it mean cheaper? Very possibly. It depends on your situation, where you are currently, and what simple is going to mean in that equation. If simpler is less expensive, well then kudos, bonus. Your whole retirement funding gap analysis, what you need versus what you have coming in, is going to be, oh, here it comes again, simpler. Yes, it's the word of the day. Get a t-shirt, put it on the coffee mug. I personally obviously have dogs on my coffee mug. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Jenny. This is video, I think this is video 5, maybe 6, in series 6 of my 7-month series on talking about everything from retirement. On Saturday, we're going to have a YouTube live, so y'all keep coming back. So as you're considering mulling this over, chewing on your, oh, dare I say curd, chewing on your curd, yep, that's a real saying. about living more simply. Remember, this is an intentional, conscious decision. We may have wandered into living above our means. We may have wandered into debt. We may have wandered into a lot of bad habits. But living simply, this is going to be something you choose and you actually get to design. And it can be anything that your heart desires within the more simply mold of how that fits into your life. Simply is going to mean fewer obligations, which means you can say no thank you when people ask you to take on things. Because if you are retiring and you're leaving your job, oh my goodness, I've heard tell. Now, okay, living more simply allows you the intention of saying no thank you when the requests start coming in for everything everybody wants to do to help you fill your time. You need to decide what your retirement life is going to look like, or your working less semi-retired hybrid retirement life is going to look like. And you need to make some decisions on how you want to fill that time. And if you're looking to live more simply, then start giving it a lot of thought and prepare. Level some expectations of the family members who might think you need help filling your time up. And by living more simply, you might find out this actually creates more space in your days and in your weeks to do the things you really want to do. Yes, you probably do want to spend more time with your grandchildren. You probably do want to spend more time helping out at the local shelter or volunteering at this charity or acting or participating more in your church activities, whatever you want to do. But you will find that living more simply gives you more opportunities to do the things that you actually want to do and that you cherish. Now, is simple just in your day-to-day activities? No, it's not. Thank you for asking. It actually also has to do with your surroundings. This is a time while you're physically able to start downsizing, not because we're telling you or I'm telling you you can't have all this stuff. Now you can keep as much of the crap as you want to, but somebody's going to have to go through this and they may not do with your stuff what you want done with it. So if there are projects and hobbies that you've long since abandoned that you don't intend to revisit in this next chapter of life, then let's go ahead and get rid of that stuff. Donate it to a shelter where folks can use it, or if it's still in good repair and it can go to your local resale shops to support whatever cause you want to, go ahead and start doing that. Or maybe there's family heirlooms that you want to make sure get passed along to the correct family members who are going to appreciate and cherish them. Things that you can part with now and enjoy when you go to visit them for the Thanksgiving dinners they now cook for you. So start doing your downsizing. This is going to help you live more simply, but also with less stuff, you breathe easier. Another simple living approach. And by living more simple, a simple life, it's going to force you to let go of comparisons, because there's not going to be a lot of people in your circle that are intentionally living more simply. They're still chasing whatever grand scenario they figured their retirement was going to be. Stop the comparisons. You do you. You figure out what your number is. And if you aren't currently keeping a budget while you're still actively working and thinking about retirement, you need to start doing that. You need to figure out what it takes today to live so that you can figure out what it's going to take tomorrow to live. And if you are just recently beginning to prepare or think about your retirement numbers, this is not too late, but you need to start looking at that. How much do I need in retirement? How much do I need in retirement versus how much have I put away for retirement? What's the gap? Is Social Security, which was never intended to be your 100% retirement fund, but was to keep you from starving, what is that going to contribute to that gap? And what do you need to do now to start addressing the gap? Will you continue working for X number of years to fill that gap until Social Security begins? Will you start selling off some stuff to pay off your debt or to pile up cash to bridge that gap to add to your retirement funds. So now is the time to start having those conversations with your spouse, with yourself. Down in the description, Master Your Money Plan. This is a free workbook for you. It has a companion upgrade, the Retirement Reality Reset Kit, with an additional spreadsheet that you can just punch numbers in and have it calculate for you. If you don't want to forever quit working for the next 15, 20 years, I personally will continue to do my side hustles and passion projects. If they produce income, fantastic. I'm hoping they will. So like, share, subscribe. But with that said, down in the description is the Life Experiences to Income workbook for you to figure out what skills you have that could be an avenue for extra income to bridge the gap or just to keep you busy doing stuff you love. It does not matter if you have spent your life 100% working outside the house or if you were a stay-at-home caretaker, organizer, project manager, schedule manager. You've got skills that you probably don't even realize you have. So go and grab that. It's free. All right, back to the video. And this whole living simply movement that I'm inspiring in all of you, it's going to make you even more aware. Now, a lot of us became aware of this at some point in the rearview mirror. But riches are not all material. They're not all about money. What you value is what you keep. And if you are going to be Ebenezer Scrooge and cling to your materialistic things, stuff, cash, that's your choice. But for those of you who are looking to embrace the experiences and the time spent, well spent with people you love, living simply, that's just a natural byproduct. And living simply is going to build stronger relationships, give you more peace in your life. It will improve your health because by living more simply, you've got less stress. You've got time to focus on you. All of those great intentions we've had while we were out killing it and bringing it home, to cook more healthy meals, to get that walk in after we eat, to intentionally keep muscle mass because as we age, that deteriorates. So living more simply is going to increase all sorts of aspects of your life that you may not even be aware you're doing. You're just looking for less. So listen to me now and hear me later. Yeah, I've stole that line from way back in the day with a Saturday Night Live skit. So listen to me now and hear me later. A rich life and an expensive life are not the same thing. I vote for a rich life. All right, so I'm Jenny. I post on Wednesdays and Saturdays. I've got a little to say about a lot of stuff, and all of it has to do with the season of life we're in. We are Gen X. We're going to go boldly and confidently into this next chapter, and you can make it look like anything you want to. You just simply have to know what you need, what your number is. So like, share, subscribe. Y'all keep coming back. I'll see you soon. Stop recording. Stop recording. How much is enough? Oh my goodness, new tech, enough vacations, enough postcards from beyond, whatever. Peaceful and enriched with life experiences versus materialistic things. Or it would have been great if I could have really purchased that super duper boat and I could be buried in that just like they do with the Cadillacs out in Texas. Oh, actually, no, this is series 7. So this is video 5 or 6 of series 7. Ah, yes, it's series 7. Okay, a little confused. Back to the topic, living more simply. Being the single, childless sister, I had a season of life where, Jenny, you can watch all the dogs while the rest of us go on vacation with the kids to different locations. But you're going to be home. You don't have kids. You can watch all the dogs and we don't have to pay for a kennel. Now, granted, I adored all of the family pets. I had wonderful summer camps with my family's dogs as they went on their vacation adventures. But if you're retiring and people in your life realize that, oh, grandma and grandpa, they need to fill their time up with something. Be careful. And this is your final chapter challenge. This is where I want you to start designing your next phase of life intentionally. Leave down in the comments the first things you're going to do within your first 90 days, your first 6 months, your first year. Me, I'm going to catch my breath. I'm going to go spend time with family members who, God bless them, they're up there in age. They may not be around in the next few years for me to get around to spending time with them. I am not drifting into retirement. No, ma'am. No, sir. I am choosing, I am directing, I am the master and the maestro of what my next chapter looks like. It can be anything that I want. And guess what? You can design your own life as well. You can make your own choices. It's all up to us. It's always been up to us. Gen X, we have known this from the first day we got out of high school. The world is our oyster. We can design anything we want. Now, I know a lot of us have been really busy living life, but we are now in a season to where your kids are grown. Perhaps there's grandkids for you to love on. You are, and I'm going to hear some bad sides, you are tired, exhausted, burnt out to the degree that's up to you, depends on your own perception. And you may be daggone ready to just lay it down and say, no more. I'm not doing another day's work. If you've prepared, that's great. But not all of us have 100% what we need right now. Now, I'm in my late 50s. I am not quite to the magic age. They tell me I can retire at 65, 67. But there's things we can start doing now to prepare ourselves, not just mentally, but financially, for what that looks like. Now, you don't have to quit working. If you enjoy what you're doing, or if there's other things you would rather be doing and it's time that you start pursuing those, then definitely start preparing now to shift into those things. On my channel, we have talked a lot about hybrid retirement, semi-retirement, glide down retirement. There's all sorts of ways to put lipstick on this pig. But the pig itself is, what do you want to do with this next phase of life? Let's talk about this. We're talking about you owning your life, your time, your money, your experiences, your environment, where you live, what you do, who you spend time with. When you enter this phase of life, and we're all there, whether or not you're aware of it or not, you get to make the decisions. It's always been up to you, but now it's even more important to see that we have got more sunsets behind us than we do sunrises in front of us. And if you have spent your entire life pleasing others and doing for others, good for you, because you have changed lives that you have no idea what that domino effect has done. You have changed the world. I love that. But what about you? It is time to focus on what you want in this next phase. And surprise, retirement has never been the finish line. No, it is just simply another toll gate that we're going through, just like when we graduated or we got that first job or we got married. It's just a different mile marker on the path that we're on. So retirement, however you want to dress that up. And I personally, I don't plan to stop working. I love my side hustles and passion projects. These are things that I've always been interested in, and I will continue doing long after I hand over my computer and my badge to my current job. Now, am I doing that tomorrow? No, I am not. I know what my monthly number needs to be. My husband and I have crunched it. We know what we need to do over the next whatever period of time to get us in position so that when I do finally say thank you very much, it's been a pleasure, or in the words of Jimmy Buffett, it's been a lovely cruise. But with that said, I will say goodbye to this career path that I've been on. Tons of videos about how to manage your life in your final job, but this is my last job for somebody else. But continue working, continue doing what I love. Yes, I will. But you can make those decisions as well. So down in the description, I've got a couple of freebies for you. Master your money plan. If you are unaware of how much you need right now to live, which is going to feed into how much you need later when you start transitioning into this next phase of life, you've got to figure this out. Because you don't need $1 million, but you daggum sure need what you need every month. So go down and grab Master Your Money Plan. It's in the description. It's going to take you to my website where I have a retirement resource center. And in that resource center, additionally, is life experiences to income. If you find that you have a gap between what you need every month and what you have put away and anticipate is going to be your income in retirement, then you may need to actually start creating your extra income. Extra income now, oh my goodness, this can pay off debt, this can stack up money in your peace fund, this can keep shoving money into those retirement funds, whatever those look like for you. But don't wait until the ship is about to leave the dock before you decide to jump on board. If you still have 5, 10, some of us 15 years before we even envision moving into this next chapter, you got time to start getting something off the ground and going. And it may take off. It may actually change your life. So go down and grab Life Experiences to Income. This is for all of us, regardless if you worked in the home or outside the home. You've got skills that you can figure out how to make money with. All right, so back to you are in control of the rest of your life. What are you going to do with it? I just made that title up, but it sounded pretty good, didn't it? And don't forget this, retirement. This next season of life, it is bigger. Oh my goodness, it is so much bigger than just the money. Just like the life you've lived up to this point, the last 40, 50, 60, 70 years, there was so much more in the life you've lived than just the money. So don't think you're retirement planning. You're looking into the future. Don't think that planning for this next phase of life is only about how much money you need and how much money you got. It is not. You will realize, whether you hear me now and listen to me later, you will realize that retirement is all about how you want to live out the rest of your years. And because we have paid our dues, we have worked so freaking hard. We have raised families and nieces and nephews, and we have done such great things in our lives. This is where you get to reward yourself with doing things that you want to do. Now, I get it. Some of us are not going to go and have champagne dreams and caviar nights or whatever that phrase was. That's okay. We can still live our richest life ever with intention, focus, and whatever approach it requires. We're Gen X. We have mastered life up to this point, and we are going to change the trajectory of what retirement means with this next phase of life. So what are you going to do? Even if you have to keep working, maybe it's not a full-time situation. You might think you need to work to your 70 at this point or till you drop dead, etc. Crunch your numbers. Go and get that Master Your Money Plan. Figure out. You might be surprised that your gap is not as big as you think it was, and that there's things you can do now to better prepare. Yes, you can keep saving money. You can work some side hustles or second jobs to get things paid off so that when you move into retirement, you no longer have the credit card bills or this giant car lease, etc. You can do smarter now so that your future self has an easier time of it. But if you choose to continue working, whether because it's a money-driven thing or just a personal preference, your retirement life mentally should start today, because this retirement mindset that I speak of, that I encourage you to start embracing, to start living today like you're retired, is nothing more than what we should have been doing all of these years. But now, if we don't start it now, when the heck are we going to start it? You need to start doing the things that bring you pleasure, that satisfy your soul, that is an experience that you want to have. You need to spend time with the people you want to spend time with. Many of us, we have been taking care of our parents and we're losing them. If they're not already gone, they're going to be gone soon. So go spend some time with them. Give your future self the presents, and by presents I mean gifts, but also the presents. Be present in today. All right, that's the touchy-feely. You do you. Do you want the next 20, 30 years to be what you've just done, or do you want to change it? Design your own retirement. So your retirement plan, it's really a life plan wearing a retirement costume. So regardless of what your choices are, they are your choices. Not everybody is going to understand, appreciate, approve, but really Gen X, when have we ever cared about their approval? Your kids may, what? You're going to go out net zero? What about our inheritance? If they're counting on you to be their retirement plan, well, you need to set them straight now. I am going out net zero. Love my nieces and nephews, but I've worked really, really hard. So has my husband. And if we want to blow it all, we're going through it. You should live by our example and get your own self set up for retirement. And you may have to have that conversation with your own children or nieces and nephews or whoever might be expecting you to leave them a little something. No, you get to retire and live the rest of your life with dignity, spending your money the way you choose to. And you don't need permission from anybody to live the life that fits you, that you earned. If this information, if my rants and let's just say colloquial examples have gotten your attention and you're not sure what your next steps are, keep coming back. I post on Wednesdays and Saturdays. I got a little to say about a lot of stuff. All of it has to do with this next chapter of life, whether you call it retirement or you just call it my next chapter of life. There we go. How many more times can I say? Like, share, subscribe. You've got somebody in your life who needs to hear this message. You've got somebody in your life. Keep coming back. I will see y'all soon. Stop recording. So a retirement plan, it's really a life plan wearing the skirt that says, I'm your retirement plan. Who you need to pull up by the shoulders and explain how you're going to live the rest of your life because you've decided simple is better. If you want what's in my garage or you want these family heirlooms, you better come get them now. Leave down in the comments what's the first thing you're going to do to start living more simply. I'm going to just pause and enjoy life. Yes, I'm going to keep producing these videos. I'm going to keep my side hustles. That is a part of my identity now. Whether or not they make me money or income streams or not, I enjoy it. I have adored your comments. Like, share, subscribe, send this video series and the entire 7-month collection to somebody in your life who needs to hear it. I'm Jenny. I post on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Occasionally I've got to get something off my chest and I call that a jigger gin. It's mostly unedited, surprisingly unfiltered. All right, I'll see you guys again soon. Stop recording.